All right, good evening. I will now call to order the August 21st, 2025 Board of Education meeting. We acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of Chuman, Tagua, Fernandio, Tatav, and First Nation on which we are learning, educating, and living. Mr. Flores, would you please lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand. Please face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and congratulations on your new position. Ms. Quintero, can you please take the roll call, please?
Member Cano? Member Tabbitt? Member Tabbitt is absent today. Clerk Weisberg?
Present.
Vice President Ponser Kamkar?
President.
President Agakanian?
Present. We have a quorum. Item 5, reporting on closed session. There's no report on closed session. 6, any adjustments to the agenda? I know that items 11I to 11N, right? Dr. Weisberg, go ahead.
I would like to pull, hold on one second, I had it, I can't find it. I'll just look. I would like to please pull 10G, just because I haven't had time to read the report. The guide came to us as an amended attachment, and I haven't had time to read it, so I would like to pull it for our next agenda, for our next regular meeting, unless, Peter, there's something super time sensitive about it. There is.
I believe they were going to present it to us.
It has to be done at this meeting.
We'd like to recommend it be approved by the board this evening.
My only concern is that because the guide wasn't attached, we didn't get it until now. And so I don't anticipate there being anything in there that I'm not going to be excited about, but I am hesitant. Do you feel like the report is going to be comprehensive enough to cover all of the guide that we'll feel?
So Dr. Harris wants to go through the report and then share with us what's in the curriculum guide. It is on.
Oh, my mic is on.
Yeah, it's on.
Why don't we keep it for discussion if you don't feel comfortable?
Okay.
When we get there?
Exactly.
Great.
Does
That'd
that
be
sound
helpful.
okay?
That sounds good to me. Thank you.
All right, anything else? So we have 11I.
I think we're pulling 10C. Is that right?
And 11I to 11. All right,
And 11I to
11N.
all of those?
Yes, and I can have a quick explanation
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
can we
Thank
know?
you. The consent items that are being pulled for professional services or consultant services is part of our effort to make sure that we are really being diligent in our internal processes. In this case, we either use the wrong form or just need to relook at whether they're consultants or not. So that's part of our own bit. We will clean that up, and it will be on the next board meeting.
All right. Anything else? All right. Any item 7 now? Any items for future agenda? Dr. Weisberg.
Yes. Seeing that this is 3 complete months of Trustee Tabbitt, according to Government Code 1770G, abandoning her duties, I would like to ask that at our next meeting, we agendize a resolution that declares her office vacant due to that government code. So if we could have that resolution agendized at the next meeting. Additionally, as a separate agenda item, I think we talked about revising our board policy in regards to censure. Or wait, two things.
It was, sorry, we can do that. I don't know that that needs to happen at the next meeting. I think we should do the
timeline.
abandonment, but then we should also talk about the process for filling the vacancy. I think we can have a proposal that we then discuss at the dais and finalize during the meeting.
That's fine.
Does that sound okay?
It does indeed.
I have another one.
Yes.
Also for the next meeting, I'd like to agendize a conversation about releasing a request for proposals around superintendent search consultants. So we would begin the conversation around what the permanent superintendent search process would look like. And that could happen at the next board meeting.
Anything else? All right, thank you. We're on number 8 now, reports from the board and staff. We have our BTA and CSEA and BASA. Is Sarah, you're here, right? Ms. Schwartz from BTA, please.
Here we go. Sorry, I'm short. Make sure my papers are in order. Okay. Good evening, community members, members of the Board of Education, and fellow BUSD staff. My name is Sarah Schwartz, and I am a Burbank teacher, a BUSD parent, and the president of the Burbank Teachers Association. As we finish the first full week of school, I want to thank all of the teachers, counselors, nurses, speech-language pathologists, classified staff, and site administrators who have safely managed the chaos of the start of a new year for the thousands of students who come through our doors. The start of school rarely goes exactly how we planned, but as with most things, we got through it together. I will be making it a routine to lift up specific examples of the work of our members to support Burbank students, starting with Erin Barrick, a special education teacher at John Burroughs High School. This summer, Erin secured a grant from the California Teachers Association Institute for Teaching to make a container garden at JBHS an accessible experience for her students. Erin's work is indicative of how creative teachers get, even when tight budgets constrain us, and is just one example of how educators often go above and beyond. As this is the last board meeting before Labor Day, I'd also like to recognize all the union members who make Burbank run, from my members in BTA and our colleagues in CSEA, to the members of the Burbank City Employees Association who keep our parks clean and our libraries running, to the union roofers and waterproofers who worked through the hot days of summer to repair the roofs at several school sites, and to all the members of the Hollywood Trades in Burbank who bring us entertainment. Burbank is a union town, and union workers contribute so much to our community. We should take the time to honor their contribution this Labor Day. Finally, I want to turn to a topic that warrants a less celebratory tone. As was just mentioned, Charlene Tabbitt is not on this dais. This means she has not discharged her duties since the discovery of the fraudulent contract in June. This board's bylaws state that a vacancy occurs when a member ceases to discharge the duties of his or her office for the period of 3 consecutive months, except when prevented by illness or when absent from the state with the permission required by law. I would ask that the board proceed with the process for removing Trustee Tabbitt and appointing a replacement if Trustee Tabbitt's 3-month absence is enough to trigger a vacancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schwartz. Do we have Laura Bauman here? No. And then we have CSEA, Laura Flossie. BASA, sorry. Nope, all right. All right. 8B, reports from the superintendent. Dr. Macias.
Thank you, Dr. Agakanian. I have several things that I do want to share and say, but before we do that, I do want to welcome to the podium our friends from the Burbank Police Department, specifically Captain Ruiz, who will share some more members to the community.
Good evening, Chair, school board members, district staff, and viewing public. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time to introduce our new school resource officer. My name is Eddie Ruiz. I am the captain of the investigation division. The SRO program is housed in my division. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you Officer Courtney Pinsky, who has recently been assigned to the school resource officer. She took on this role on July 20th. Officer Pinsky began her career with BPD in 2017. She has worked in the field operations as a patrol officer since coming on board. She's a certified defensive tactics instructor. She's also a recipient of our Life Saving Award, in where she provided critical help to assist a person who had been unfortunately stabbed and was bleeding profusely, and saved the life of this individual. Since taking on this role, she has taken a series of specialized training courses to prepare her, de-escalation strategies, child and sexual abuse investigation training, threat assessment management, and also school violence response programs. In addition, she's been working with Detective Kiyomi Roberts, who was our SRO until Officer Pinsky took over, and she's been making her rounds around all the schools. She will meet all the principals, give her a little time. She's trying, trust me. Anyhow, this comprehensive training and has prepared her to both support student safety and respond effectively to complex situations on any BUSD campus. Beyond her qualifications and training, Officer Pinsky brings a calm demeanor, a very strong work ethic, and an approachable nature. These qualities make her, I think, especially well-suited for this position, and I think she's going to engage well with students and staff alike. She's committed to building positive relationships and becoming a trusted presence on our campus when she gets to visit. We're excited to welcome her in this important role. Obviously, our department has a long tradition of being supportive of BUSD, and we always will continue that because our student community is very important to us. And I am confident she'll do a great job, and she's going to be a great asset. Please join me in welcoming Officer Pinsky.
Thank you for this opportunity. As a police officer as well as a mother, I understand the importance of protecting our children. So I take this position with great responsibility as well as respect. So thank you for this opportunity.
And just one more thing. Many of you know Sergeant Christopher Totemongs. He's going to be the sergeant in charge of the SRO program. He was a former SRO. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but look forward to it. I know he's already making rounds at the schools. So if you see him, he'll be the supervisor for Officer Pinsky. Thank you for your time.
And real quickly,
Yes, sir.
we have another member who's hiding, Lieutenant Fromer. I just want to acknowledge him and introduce him as well, too. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you. No, I was just going to thank them.
So I do want to thank our Burbank Police Department partners and friends. I do want to share with the community, we've been able to meet the new Chief of Police and other members. Really proud of that meeting and the outcome and the spirit behind that partnership and moving forward. So that was just an example of our connection with the police department, with the school resource officer, but there are more things that we're definitely going to be working on, planning with, and again, I use the word partnership, so I'm very happy to report that and look forward to working with Chief Q. Other important items I want to share, I do want to echo what our BTA president shared in her statements in terms of thanking our teachers. We were able to open the school year, and a lot of us were out and about, and we were able to enjoy seeing the smiling faces, some not so smiling faces coming back. But the joy to see our students and our teachers welcoming students in, our support staff members, it was amazing. It was powerful. I love the vibe and the feel, and it's incredible to see. And there's many other campuses to visit, and looking forward to doing that. But the one aspect that I want to focus in on is I do want to make sure that we take the time to celebrate moments like you just shared. So thank you for doing that. It's a good reminder for all of us that there are amazing things happening in and out of our classrooms and our school communities. That is something that I will always work with you and our other partners to always highlight and celebrate. So thank you for doing that. It's a nice reminder to reflect on. Lastly, I do want to share with the community and acknowledge the following. More details will come out next week, Monday. There's been a topic of concern in the community that I want to acknowledge and just share that as a district leadership team, we did not do what we needed to do in the formation of the School Facilities Oversight Committee, specifically to bond measure ABC. That is something that, as interim superintendent, I want to acknowledge and tell the community that's on us. And I apologize to the board, I apologize to the community. There is corrective action taking place. So beginning next week, and again, the email will convey more information, but we're going to reopen the selection process for those who are interested to join that oversight committee. Again, I want to reiterate that our corrective actions to our internal mistake is that we're reopening the selection process for the oversight committee. So I want to make sure I go on record for that, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Macias. 9, request to address, oh, by the way, before we go there, Ms. Schwartz, thank you very much for your comments. Our son comes home every day, he's very happy, so I know teachers are working hard, but please, thank him on my behalf for all the hard work they're doing. 9, request to address the board. Any individual or group representative present this evening may address the Board of Education of any agenda items or any subjects within the jurisdiction of the school board by completing a white request card, turning it into Ms. Quintero. Speakers are requested to state their name prior to speaking to the board. Not more than 5 minutes may be allotted to each speaker except for unanimous consent of the Board of Education. The superintendent may refer the matter to the proper department for review. The district is providing alternatives to in-person attendance for viewing and participation. Ms. Quintero, do we have any virtual speakers?
We should have one, yes.
Okay. Is this person on? Nope. Okay. All right. So now we're going to our public comments. Our first person is Ani Markarian.
Good evening. My name is Annie Markarian. I've been a Burbank resident for 33 years and an attorney for 20. I'm here tonight to address the absence of Charlene Tabbitt from this board since June of 2025 and the resulting vacancy that affects the governance of our schools. Meeting after meeting, I've heard concerned residents, parents, union leaders, and teachers call for her resignation. And I've repeatedly heard members of this board, particularly Dr. Weisberg, state that the only way to remove a sitting board member is through resignation or recall. I am so glad that this legal inaccuracy and misinformation has been corrected tonight. In September, it will have been 3 full months since Ms. Tabbitt last discharged her duties. Under Government Code 1770G, this constitutes a vacancy by operation of law. No resignation, no recall, and no board action is required. The statute is clear and it mirrors your bylaws. Provision is self-executing. Courts and the Attorney General opinions have confirmed that once the threshold is reached, the seat is automatically vacant. A formal declaration is not necessary. I'd like to take it one step further, though. Once a vacancy exists, whether by way of her extended absence or her voluntary resignation, the law provides clear next steps. Education Code 5091 requires this board to act within 60 days. And I hope there isn't going to be yet another delay on one of your legal duties. You must make a provisional appointment, or you must call for a special election. If the board fails to act, the county superintendent is required to order an election. This is not just a technicality, it's about public accountability. The community deserves full representation, especially in a time of scandal and silence from elected officials. To do nothing or to delay by clinging to misreadings of the law would be yet another breach of our public trust. And while the next step is truly within your control, please understand the community will not allow inaction. If necessary, we will engage the county superintendent and, if required, the attorney general to ensure compliance with the law. And finally, if you choose to make a provisional appointment in lieu of calling for a special election, I strongly encourage you to involve the community in that decision. Appointing another unqualified, disengaged, or self-interested member to this board would be unacceptable, and it will be met with resistance. The legal threshold for the community to petition for a special election in such a situation is very low, and I have no doubt it can and will be met within the timeframe prescribed by law if a qualified, competent, and neutral board member is not appointed.
All right, we have Eric Hawk. Mr. Hawk.
Well, hey, and good evening to wonderful members of the school board, wonderful members of the school district staff here, as well as wonderful people who've taken time out of their evening to attend today's meeting. My name, for the record, is Eric Hawk. I am the president of the board of directors for the Burbank Community Band. And there are two things I wanted to speak about this evening. First of all, very happy that after our traditional summer break as a band, we're getting the band back together again, and starting actually in just a few hours. Tomorrow morning, we will be rehearsing again and getting ready for our first shows of the 2025-2026 season. And I'll be coming back periodically to keep you all updated with respect to our Halloween concert, Saturday, October the 25th, our Veterans Day performance on Tuesday, November the 11th, and our December holiday concert on Saturday, December the 21st. And really looking forward to some great shows there. I'll be even more enthusiastic and focus my enthusiasm on each of those concerts as I come back to y'all. So in addition to the opportunity to play, to rehearse, to get together, I should say that also as this community's volunteer band, we are always welcoming of new members who would like to play with a group of wonderful musicians. And so if you do, or if you know someone who does enjoy playing with a group of wonderful musicians, please, we will be at McCambridge Park Recreation Center from 9:30 in the morning on Fridays to 11:30 in the morning on Fridays, and got some wonderful music that we were going to be playing as well. The other thing I wanted to speak of was I don't think I had the opportunity to say this as our season closed last year, but we had a really wonderful experience playing on the main stage of Burbank High School for our annual show, The Sound of Burbank, last April. We really enjoyed that. I had a wonderful time. Our musicians had a wonderful time. Really hope our audience enjoyed it as well somewhat. But yeah, we're hoping that maybe come next spring, maybe we'll have the opportunity to work with y'all again and also have a performance on such a fabulous venue there that the Burbank schools offer there. So those are my two things. I will wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you very much, everybody.
Next, we have Bob. Is it Bonet, or did I say it right? Or Bound?
Good evening, board members. My name is Bob Bound, and by way of background, I'm a lifelong resident in the city of Burbank, a former student in the Burbank Unified School District, and I graduated at John Burroughs High School. My wife, Diane, and I have raised 4 children in Burbank, all of whom attended Burbank Public Schools. 4 of our 9 grandchildren attended Burbank Public Schools, and we currently have 2 grandchildren attending John Burroughs High School. Further, my daughter-in-law has worked as a teacher in Burbank and is currently teaching kindergarten. Professionally, I am an attorney with a law practice here in the city of Burbank. I have also served the citizens of Burbank as an elected official on the Burbank Board of Education, as a member of the Burbank City Council, and as mayor of the city of Burbank, representing a span of 18 years of public service. Tonight, I am here attending this meeting in solidarity with many of other former Burbank School Board members who are behind me, and concerned citizens in Burbank, to deliver a very important message to you, the current Burbank Board of Education members. As former members of the Burbank Board of Education, we are watching the proceedings of the district with profound disappointment. With 98 years of collective experience spanning 4 decades in the Burbank Unified School District history, we have a deep understanding of the depth and the breadth of commitment of time, talent, resources, and personal sacrifice that is required to serve as trustee in this district. Historically, Burbank Unified School District board members have attended trainings provided by the California School Boards Association, and the district's own board policies require Board of Education members to complete the Masters in Governance training provided by CSBA. In addition, the California School Board Association has numerous online resources designed to help trustees learn both their role and their responsibilities in overseeing the critical work the community has entrusted you with. Chief among these resources are the California School Boards Association Professional Governance Standards, a set of principles and practices designed to help boards of education govern effectively. These standards, embedded in Board Bylaw 9005, aim to enhance public understanding of board responsibilities, support boards in their work, and promote a strong governance team focused on student learning. The following concepts are drawn from the California School Board Association's Professional Governance Standards. Individual board members must be leaders of the community and role models for students. They must make professional development a priority, and they must commit the time and the energy necessary to be informed and effective decision makers. The board as a whole must have a unity of purpose and operate openly with trust and integrity. The board must govern in a dignified and professional manner, treating everyone with civility and respect, both from the dais and in other community communications. Most of all, the board must take collective responsibility for the board's performance. During our times as board members, we were constantly aware of the critical need for vigilance as stewards of the district's funds, especially during times of extreme financial crisis, which each of us experienced over the terms we served. We also remain mindful of the enormous responsibility of maintaining the trust of the community. Therefore, it is with tremendous sadness that we are witnessing the evaporation and the destruction of public trust, which took decades of care and stewardship to build and will take years to repair. We respectfully suggest that the board take the following steps. 1, listen to the public input with a willingness to learn. 2, ask for help and guidance from seasoned leaders throughout the community. 3, immediately establish a budget advisory committee made up of community financial professionals. 4, immediately establish an action plan to demonstrate adherence to the professional governance standards as prescribed in Board Bylaw 9005 and originally adopted in 2006. 5, immediately establish and commit to an action plan for board member education with timelines for completion in accordance with Board Bylaw 9240. Schedule a board goal-setting workshop to be held in the open and televised, live streamed as soon as possible in accordance with Board Bylaw 9000, role of the board. And conduct board self-evaluation in order to demonstrate accountability to the community in accordance with Board Bylaw 9400. It is our hope that you will be able to begin to rebuild the necessary public trust required for you to be the leaders the community members and students of the Burbank Unified School District deserve. This letter has been signed by myself, Elena Hubble, board member from 1991 to 2003, Denise Wilcox, board member from 1993 to 1997, Mike McDonald, board member from 1995 to 2003, Richard Radd, board member from 1999 to 2003, Dave Kemp, board member from 2003 to 2015, Debbie Kukta, board member from 2005 to 2012, Larry Applebaum, board member from 2005 to 2017, John Dillibert, board member from 2006 and 2007 and 2012 and 2013, Roberta Reynolds, board member from 2007 to 2020, Steve Ferguson, board member from 2015 to 2024, and Steve Frentner, board member from 2017 to 2022. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Joe Schlossman.
Evening, everybody. Mr. Arcani, I'd like the same courtesy that you just extended to
That's really up to
Mayor
my
Gunn.
board, sir. So,
Okay. Mr. Arcani and where's Mr. Cantwell? Will you answer that question for us, please? Ms. Cano, you said something that didn't sit well at the last meeting. You said basically that nobody who came to the podium asked what they could do to help when there was a room full of people that were here to help. So I first heard you speak at the Board of Realtors, and my first impression was that you were clueless and really unqualified to be here. And you haven't disappointed me in that regard. I know that Ms. Tabbitt, I know that it wasn't your idea to be here. I know that it was Ms. Tabbitt who invited you. I know that it was Ms. Tabbitt who drove you down to the Register Recorder. And I know that it was Mr. Paramo that wanted you because you wouldn't be any problems for him. And of course, I know that the union endorsed you because you'd be a good little puppet for them. And if I am wrong, for the almost part of a year, tell us all what you've done, other than vote yes on what's put under your nose, because I'm not impressed so far. And when you first came here, I really gave you a fair chance. I wanted you to introduce some items that would help our kids learn better. I'll get to that in a minute, but I've heard nothing from you so far. Now, Ms. Ponser-Kamkar, you called Ms. Tabbitt a criminal, and there's something patently un-American about that in my book because she hasn't had a trial. She hasn't even been accused of anything criminally yet. And even if she was accused, that doesn't make her guilty until she's guilty in a court of law. So that didn't sit well with me, but I got to thinking, she is guilty of doing a shitty job. She, took a bunch of money, her daughter took a bunch of money, but you are the ones who gave her the money. So, I got to thinking about our state testing scores, those pesky things they do every year, and they test in different parameters, different metrics, math, reading, and so on. And our students more than half of them can't pass the very low state standards. And in your time, I don't know what you've done to increase those tests, but I know one thing's for sure, you haven't called any of those teachers criminals who have been doing a shitty job as well. The state testing reflects it. And my whole point of coming here, meeting after meeting, year after year, is to increase test scores and get our kids a better education. To use a word I hear, I don't think all of our teachers are phenomenal. Like I hear that word a lot. Okay, Mr. Agakanian, I talked about you last week. I meant every word of it. Now, going down the row, Ms. Weisberg, last year, I come to this podium or over there at this district headquarters, and I'm critical. I've been critical of you and others for a long time, and it's fashionable now. A lot of people are coming and talking about how we need to be doing a better job, but I've been doing it for a long time. And last year you said to me, Mr. Schlossman, if you don't like it, run and grow a pair. So here's the pair I'm growing for you right now. Of course I can. It's free speech. Learn something and don't interrupt me. I am civil. She told me to grow a pair, and I grew 2 for her. So, okay. I still got 1 minute and 19 seconds. Is that okay with you? Thank you. So, another thing you said to me last year was you ridiculed me for asking for public records. Don't shake your head. You did. You said it takes up staff time to provide these public records. And by the way, the public records that I asked, particularly about you, they all revealed malfeasance on your part. And I have pictures of the records in my phone if anybody wants to see them. I mailed them to different people, reporters, a lot of other people. So my question for you is a simple one. Are you going to ridicule? Here's an article where people asking for records, Gavin Quinton, a reporter, can't even get them. Are you going to ridicule him and tell him that he's costing the district money, or anybody else here who asks for public records? Because you need somebody looking over your shoulder, because look at your track record. It's horrible. We're not against you. I mean, you tried everything. You called the police on me. You weaponized the police on me lots of times. You said I feel threatened by you. All this kind of stuff. When all I'm talking about is I want a better district. My kids are grown now, okay? They're done. Okay. I'll be respectful, Mr. Agakanian.
Mr. Dave Kemp, please.
Good evening, Dr. Agakanian, Superintendent Macias, Ms. Quintero, and district staff. My name is Dave Kemp. I'm a former teacher in Burbank for 35 years and 12 years on the Board of Education. Good evening. As this board prepares for the next steps in addressing a potential vacancy on the board, I want to focus on what comes next and why the community must play an active role in shaping your decision. If you choose to fill this seat through a provisional appointment, that appointment cannot be treated as mere formality. The community deserves a transparent process where parents, teachers, staff, and residents have an opportunity to provide meaningful input. Anything less will appear as yet another closed-door decision that undermines public trust. The candidate chosen must meet very high standards. This is not a role for political insiders, for friends of the board, or for individuals seeking the title. This is a role that someone who deeply understands the governance responsibilities of a school board, and that means working knowledge of board bylaws and policies, a clear understanding of the distinction between governance and management, a proven ability to act independently, neutrally, and always in the best interest of students, and above all, a willingness to listen to and engage with community they serve. What makes an effective board member? Honesty, integrity, commitment, knowledge of the community, understanding the task and duty of being a board member and a public servant. willing to study and learn about the issues facing the district. Be a good listener and respect for team members. Decide issues on factual information only. Keep confidential information confidential. Commit to what is best for students while allocating available resources for that goal. This position of board members should not be looked upon as a stepping stone or a career enhancer or as an ego trip. Rather as an opportunity to support our youth in order to them to have the greatest opportunity to be successful in life. We cannot afford another disengaged, absent, or unqualified member. The stakes are too high for our students, our educators, and our city's future. A weak appointment would not only prolong the dysfunction, it would also invite resistance and a special election that this community is fully prepared to demand if necessary. So I urge that you make this decision in the open, invite the community participation, and set the bar high. If you truly want to restore trust, then prove it by appointing someone who is qualified, accountable, and fully committed to the responsibilities of this office. And you can start by getting rid of voting districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kelly Clark.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent, Macias, and community members. My name is Kelly Clark. I'm a Burbank resident, taxpayer, former BUSD employee, both classified and certificated. I share the concerns Mr. Bound expressed as to the community's expectation of accountability for board members. I'm speaking tonight as a concerned member of this community about a $30,000 consultant contract approved for Isaiah Knoll, a personal trainer with prior ties to former Superintendent John Paramo. Much of the information I'm sharing comes from reporting by Gavin Quinton of the Burbank Leader. This contract raises serious questions about student safety, financial oversight, and transparency, and yet again, we see that Mr. Cantwell is not present to answer to any of these questions. Unlike BUSD's certified athletic trainers Nicholas Caselli and Christina Gallo, who are trained in sports medicine and emergency response, Knoll did not hold comparable credentials, yet he was contracted for 30 hours a week at $50 an hour, totaling $30,000, while certified trainers' hours were reduced. Coaches in our district have warned that certified trainers are critical in emergencies. Borough's softball coach Doug Nichols said on the 11th, and I quote, "He basically put all of my athletes and the athletes in this district in harm to help one of his friends have a job," end quote. Even more concerning, Knoll received payment for hands-on training before he had mandatory Department of Justice and FBI clearances to work with minors. Records show $6,000 per month was paid, yet there is no evidence of timesheets, supervisor verification, or proof that those hours were worked. Invoices were reportedly submitted by the superintendent personally, bypassing the district's normal approval system. Parents, students, and staff have expressed frustration that certified trainers were reduced while a non-certified trainer was brought in. Students attended board meetings advocating for more hours for qualified trainers, yet assurances about Knoll's role were vague and unclear. This is not just about one contract. It reflects a deeper issue of trust in district oversight. The public deserves answers. Why was a personal associate of the superintendent hired over certified professionals? Why were payments issued without proper oversight? And why were student safety and staff hours compromised? While I recognize ongoing investigations into district contracting practices, including specialized support services contract, accountability cannot be postponed. Community members deserve clarity and transparency. As Coach Nichols said, and I echo, we must hold those responsible accountable so the district can move forward with integrity, putting student safety and education first. I urge the board to ensure that the investigation addresses these questions fully and communicates its findings openly with the community. Our students, staff, and parents deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jacob Flores.
All right, good evening, President Agakani and Superintendent Macias, board members and district staff. My name is Jacob Flores. I'm a school counselor at Luther Burbank Middle School and previously served at Burbank High for 4 years, and where last year I helped lead our WASC accreditation during a critical post-COVID moment for the district as the previous accreditation took place in 2019. I want to respond to comments made at a previous board meeting a few meetings back at the district office by former city council member Marcia Ramos, who claimed last year's Hanover Research Report on Family Service Agency, FSA's, mental health services for BUSD was political in nature. Frankly, I found that inappropriate. The Hanover report, while not perfect, highlights real issues that many of us working directly with students have experienced for years. If anything, it didn't go far enough. For example, it didn't even include John Burroughs High School, which, unlike Burbank High, did not have a QR code system last year to track care center visits. What the report also doesn't capture is how our instructional leadership team, ILT, as part of the WASC process, came to a clear and shared agreement prior to the 23-24 school year even ending. If we were going to be serious about intervention, school safety, and minimizing class disruption, we needed structural changes, including a uniform cell phone policy and clear tracking protocols for student support visits. And we aligned on those changes before the semester even ended, well in advance of the governor's vague cell phone directive for the state. By day one of the new school year, we were ready to hit the ground running. That structure and urgency gave us the leverage to finally pressure FSA to implement a QR code system, something school counselors had already been using since the pandemic began. It brought structure, transparency, and relief, especially for our classified attendance staff who had long been unfairly tasked with needing to clean up so many attendance coding errors from the convoluted drop-in structure, and to our teachers who were often confused by which absences were considered excused or unexcused in order to accommodate the selective drop-in system. And as I mentioned the last time that I publicly spoke here last semester, even with the new QR code system, the Hanover report also didn't capture the logistical nightmare that it was for senior secretaries to have to coordinate therapy sessions that FSA should have been able to coordinate themselves within their own space on campus. Had I not shown up to speak about that, would you have even known about that issue? I honestly would feel tremendous empathy if JBHS is still navigating those same issues without a QR code system in place, and none of that nuance was even captured in the report. So when someone with political capital dismisses the Hanover findings as biased, when in truth they underrepresent many of the challenges we face, it doesn't read as objectivity. It reads as a calculated attempt to conflate a legitimate accountability study with an actual scandal like Ms. Tabbitt's alleged embezzlement. Let's be clear, the Hanover report is not the embezzlement. Trying to lump those two together doesn't just feel off, it feels like an effort to shield a single agency from scrutiny by weaponizing the current political moment. And that, to me, is where the real political influence actually is. I now serve at Luther, where our counseling team went from 3 counselors to 2, and our caseloads jumped from around 350 to 500. At the high school level, 6 counselors went down to 5, and my former BHS caseload increased from 430 to 500. These are not abstract numbers. They reflect how tightly stretched support staff have become. And while I understand that 500 to 1 is the state average, there is no guidance, no tools, and no systems in place to help us adjust. It's simply make it work. That mindset reflects budget priorities, and while I'm not accusing this board or district staff of undervaluing counselors, the reality is that the 2 narrowly failed parcel tax measures have led us to this exact moment. I've always believed in the mantra, show me your budget and I'll tell you your values. I need the community to understand. If I don't speak up and put a face to what a school counselor is going through right now, it's so easy to forget the human impact of these decisions. Counselors are often the first connection for students in crisis, but without public visibility, that connection disappears from the conversation. And no, I'm not complaining. Quite frankly, if board member Tabbitt's $93,000 alleged embezzlement hadn't occurred, maybe there would have been the capacity for conversations around another desperately needed parcel tax, perhaps one led by a citizens initiative. But when things like that happen, they take the air out of the tire. And sometimes life isn't fair, but you show up anyway. That's why I'm speaking tonight, because I've been to too many board meetings where there's barely anyone in the room an hour in. And it makes me think of that old proverb, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one is around to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, I want this to be heard. So yes, the FSA contract is continuing, but that doesn't mean our feedback stops. Criticism is not an attack, accountability is not political, and public dollars must come with public transparency. Lastly, I want to say thank you to the Luther staff, students, and families for the warm welcome during this transition. It's been so nice to return to the very middle school I loved attending, but now as staff. It's a privilege I do not take lightly or for granted. I speak tonight not out of animosity, but from experience and a belief that we can do something better together. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Little? No, Lori Little.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the clapping. Good evening. Oh, it needs to be at the short people setting. Okay, I got it. Good evening. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address you. And I have to say, I wasn't nervous until I saw a room full of public service legends. And now my hands are sweating, and forgive me. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Lori Little. I'm a Burbank resident. In fact, I believe I qualify as Old Burbank, which is a term I have heard used recently as a derogatory term. My parents graduated from Burbank High in the 60s, my husband and I in the 80s, and my daughters graduated from Burroughs in 2014 and 2023. I've worked on both bond measures, both parcel taxes. I've raised money for our groups, cheered for our sports teams, clapped at performances, and I've served on numerous PTA boards, including 2 years as the Burbank Council PTA president. Old Burbank means my family's been invested in this community for a long time, and I'm proud to be referred to this way, so anyone that is using that term as a negative has missed their mark. While I no longer represent PTA in an official capacity, I did learn many things in my role as Council PTA president, mostly about how people treat others that they don't agree with or when they are not getting their way. I no longer have kids in the district, but that doesn't diminish my love for it. And things might be hard now, but Burbank is still a special place. I truly believe how we handle our worst situations is the true measure of our character. And in spite of the way I was treated by some, I still have faith in our community. The turnout for this meeting alone shows that people do still care. This week at the Council PTA meeting, Dr. Macias said something that has really stuck with me. He said that we are not stakeholders, rather we are education partners. I love this way of defining our community, and this is one of the million reasons that I am one of his biggest fans. It got me thinking, in any partnership, isn't it our responsibility to let our partner know when we aren't getting what we need from the relationship? Isn't that the only way a relationship can stay productive? There are some big feelings right now, all of them justified. But while we feel them, we also need to fix things that are broken. And as hard as that is, it's only going to happen if we listen to each other. I've been watching from home, and I don't feel like there's been much listening on either side, but there's been lots of sniping from everybody, and I'm hoping that that stops. While there are many things on my mind, I think majority of them are being addressed by other speakers here tonight. So for the sake of time, I would like to just talk about the special board meeting that happened August 12th. Dr. Weisberg and I have partially addressed this directly, but I wanted to expand on it. The email for the meeting that included the agenda had conflicting information. The header said it was an in-person only meeting, but the email also gave a link to live stream the meeting. According to the agenda, this meeting was about employee discipline and a performance review. And I want to be clear, I never expected to see the discussion on those items. I understand personnel issues are confidential, and I don't know anyone who would want their performance review televised. What I did expect to see was the opening of the meeting and any public comment. This happened at both the June 4th and December 26th meetings that had the same item on the agenda. Minutes before the August 12th meeting started, the link and the agenda were removed from the website. When you go to the website now, the meeting is still not listed in past meetings, although we know it happened. But in the list of past meetings, the June 4th and December 26th meetings show with a link to their agendas. The August 12th meeting is nowhere to be found on the website. I'm hoping adding this list to the list of meetings along with the link to the agenda and a place for the minutes once they're completed is on someone's to-do list, and that we will see it soon. But with so much going on, I just felt like I should mention it, just in case it's not. So thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you. Jennifer Lorigo.
Good evening, President Agankanian, board members, Interim Superintendent Macias, and district staff. My name is Jennifer Lorigo, and I'm the chair of the Burbank Arts and Education Foundation. On behalf of the foundation, I'd like to take a moment to remind our community who we are and the work we remain dedicated to as it relates to the students of the Burbank Unified School District. BAEF is an independent, nonprofit 501c3 organization. While we are proud to support the students, teachers, and programs of the Burbank Unified School District, we are not part of BUSD. We operate under our own nonprofit status, bylaws, and board of directors. For many years, the foundation has maintained a strong and transparent financial record. Thanks to the generosity of our community and the careful stewardship of our board, BAEF has invested nearly $1.5 million directly into Burbank classrooms. Every dollar raised is responsibly managed, independently audited, and directed towards programs that enhance learning, inspire creativity, and provide opportunities for all students. In light of recent events, it's important for us to underscore that BAEF is completely separate from BUSD operations and governance. What ties us to Burbank schools is not administration, but a shared belief in the potential of every student. Our foundation's mission is simple and unwavering: to engage the community to invest in meeting the diverse educational needs of every BUSD student. We remain steadfast in our commitment to integrity, accountability, and service. As we look ahead, our focus will continue to be on serving the students and teachers of BUSD who deserve every opportunity to succeed. We are proud of our record, and we are committed to carrying that work forward with transparency, responsibility, and optimism for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last card is Larry Applebaum. Honorable.
Good evening, President Agankanian, board members, Superintendent, from my heart, Macias. I'm going to read this even though you have addressed my concern, but I want you to know how I feel. Shortly after Measure S passed, I started advocating for a new bond election to occur in 2023 or 2024, even though I was doing it at a time when I was running for my third term on the board. I knew that the community supported our schools, and we had done due diligence in preparing the Measure S, showing 2/3 of our roofs are going to be in poor or failing condition by 2025 to 2030, and that much of the air conditioning infrastructure was going to be over 20 years old at the time. Additionally, while we ramped up to a robust technology presence, there was going to need to be funds available to take care of the hardware replacement that was going to inevitably going to be needed. Even though I was no longer a district trustee, I continued to advocate for the need for a new bond, as dedicated state money for construction and maintenance had gone by the wayside as the state moved to a funding model that put the onus to provide for school facilities squarely on the shoulders of the community. In 2022, I became a candidate for the board once again, in order to raise the voice for the need for a new bond measure in a couple of years. While I did not win, I was able to educate and convince the members of this board that a bond was needed, and they saw fit to put ABC on the ballot last year. A Citizens Oversight Committee was prominent as a means to ensure that the bond proceeds were being spent according to the needs that were laid out in the initiative. In January of this year, Mr. Cantwell brought forward a resolution to establish an oversight committee for Measure ABC, which passed in November. Why he failed to empower the School Facilities Oversight Committee, a group with a long-established history of oversight and transparency, and comprised of many distinguished members of this community, one can only guess.
The law does not specify that an oversight committee can only oversee one bond at a time, and the language used to originally establish the SFOC was clearly written to allow for the group to be a standing committee of the board, whether or not bond money was being used to repair and maintain our facilities. The board was told by Mr. Cantwell that they had 60 days to appoint the committee and seat the members. As of today, that committee has not been appointed, in clear violation of the language in Assembly Bill 1908 that authorizes the 55% voter approval level for school construction bonds. In fact, the language calls for strict accountability of local school construction bonds, specifying vigorous efforts are to be undertaken to ensure that the expenditure of bond measures are in strict conformity with the law and that taxpayers directly participate in the oversight of bond expenditures. The language continues. Unauthorized expenditures of school bond revenues are vigorously investigated, prosecuted, and courts act swiftly to restrain improper expenditures. As we all know, much work was done over the summer to repair critical infrastructure in our schools, with no citizen oversight at all. Millions of dollars of bond funds have been expended, all with no oversight. This is an unacceptable situation that must be stopped immediately. You must immediately cease and desist from spending any further bond money until a proper, qualified citizen oversight committee has been appointed and is brought up to speed on their responsibilities and has an opportunity to review what has already occurred in their absence. Failure to act immediately will require me to seek a court order restraining the expenditure of funds, which the law specifies will be acted on by courts forthwith. Please do not further undermine the public's trust. Accountability is a critical aspect of being able to pass needed bonds in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. That is the last card. All right. 9B, Superintendent's comment. Dr. Macias.
Thank you, Board President Dr. Agakanian. I want to thank all our speakers for being here. I've been saying this word quite a bit, and I truly mean it. Thank you for being engaged and paying attention. There are several of you who have chosen to speak, I apologize, that I've known for quite a bit, known throughout my years in Burbank Unified and the city of Burbank. Thank you for speaking. I want to, Mr. Baum, thank you. I do know of your service, Mr. Kemp, everyone in the room, truly. I admire you and I respect you, and here's what I truly appreciate, aside from the engagement, because I want to really thank all our speakers for the following. The choice you've made actively to be civil and respectful in communicating. I listen to that, I hear that, and I appreciate that. Civility and decorum goes a long way in terms of our, Ms. Little, thank you so much for pointing out something that I deeply am close to, and it's that word partnership. Sometimes partnership is to hear things we may not want to hear, but we're hearing it. I'm hearing it. So to all of you who have chosen to speak, thank you, Ms. Markarian. Mr. Hawk, thank you. Keep sharing the good news and the musical treats coming our way. Ms. Clark, Ms. Lorigo, thank you. We've been meeting quite a bit. Looking forward to the state of schools. I'm starting to advertise that already. Mr. Flores, he already left. I'm so happy that he's at Luther Burbank Middle School. He's been a great addition. I've heard nothing but great news and comments about him. And again, thank you to all the speakers. I really appreciate your engagement and continue to look forward to you being involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members. Dr. Wise.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody. Mr. Hawk, you know you're my fave. Always great to see you and to feel your energy. I wanted to clarify something that we have spoken about in regards to Trustee Tabbitt. So there was mention of the misreading of the law. So in multiple meetings, we've talked about there being a couple of ways to have Trustee Tabbitt removed. And it's a little redundant because we've already made the request to have this brought to the next agenda, but it wasn't just a special election or a resignation. Something we talked about quite a bit was reaching that 3-month mark, which is where we are today, and then using the government code, right, which is 1770G, which we've spoken about quite a bit, not numerically, but talked about it, referenced it specifically. And then you see tonight, we hit that 3-month mark and we immediately agendized it. So I do want to clarify that I think that the statement made that we misread the law is not true, that we have spoken a lot about this third option. And one of the reasons why we are so hesitant when we talk about a special election is because special elections cost somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 of general fund money, which means that comes out of our classrooms. So there's absolutely hesitancy on the part of the board to do a special election, especially when Trustee Tabbitt's seat is up in September. So September of 26, November, that's when elections happen, November of 26. So all that to be said, we're acutely aware of that as an option. We are hesitant to, I mean, look, and the community can do it, nothing we can do to stop it. I am hesitant to spend that. I would not want to spend that money on anything other than our students, teachers, and staff, but that is not, those are not the only two ways we've spoken about it. And I think you can see from our agendized items tonight that not only have we talked about one, putting forward the resolution at the next meeting, but we also immediately agendized talking about a timeline for appointment. So you can see online, and maybe we can put this link up somewhere on the website. CSBA, I think Mr. Kemp, you spoke about CSBA, a couple of you did, have a really helpful, I don't know what you call it, like a little guidebook about what you do when there's a board member vacancy. And a lot of it is decided based on how many days left or months left in that person's term you have. So those of you who remember a previous board member who had resigned in a period of time where we legally couldn't appoint someone, so that seat remained vacant until the election. In this case, the process involves putting it out to the community, receiving applications, and making a decision. So it will be a public process. It has to be. So, and it's laid out for us very specifically, the steps we can take, how we do it, how people apply, when we appoint them. And I hope that everybody who is curious about that will, one, check out the handbook and also listen to the meeting in 2 weeks so you can hear about that step by step. We'll also put it on the landing page of the website, similar to our special investigation, so you can kind of follow along, see the dates and times. So that will absolutely be a public process. And we look forward to feedback on it, but I'm glad that, that people raised concerns and that we were already able to address those concerns even before public comment. Okay. I wanted to acknowledge, there's some really wonderful opportunities. So I've done Masters in Governance. I did Ed 100 before I even ran for office, and we'll all be attending as we do our CSBA conference. So we are lucky to have a lot of resources for ourselves, and that I know that many of us take advantage of them pretty consistently to learn more about how to be better stewards for all of you. Mr. Kemp, we don't want voting districts either. We hate it. We hate it. All caps hate it. It was forced on us. If we could get out from underneath it, we would do it in a second. I think it creates voter discrimination. I think it creates voter suppression. I think it makes it harder for people to feel represented by their board members, because even though we serve at large, we only run in our districts. I think it is anti-democratic. I hate it. And I don't think you'd find anybody up here who disagrees with that. They're terrible. I don't know if we can do anything about them until the next census, but fully in agreement with you. I wish there was a way out from underneath it, and I wish California created an extra step, because I understand why districting exists, right? There are certainly communities that need it. It comes from the Civil Rights Voting Act. So absolutely there are communities that need it, but there should be a final stop, because people are making a living suing school districts and cities to try to district them. They're making a living on it because they get money. And so why isn't there one extra step where somebody reviews it and says, you need a district, you don't? When we brought our maps to the county districting committee, they said to us on camera, you don't need to district. And we said, we know. And we had to do it anyway. So if you ever talk to an elected official, tell them we need this extra step, because it's crazy. So thank you for bringing that up. Ms. Clark, I don't know where you are. Oh, I agree with 1,000,000,000% with everything you said, and I want to elaborate a little bit on that. Number one, I think was it our last meeting or the meeting before, we approved contracts for our 2 certified trainers. Mr. Knoll is not employed with the district. I think you have very accurately represented what occurred, the deficiencies that were there, how deeply problematic they are. I will point out that at the meeting where the students came and advocated, was it about I don't remember when, time is a flat circle, but when everybody came to speak, mostly from boroughs, the students, it was certainly not brought up to us that there was a conflict, but all of that to say to you, I agree 100%, which is why he's no longer working with us. I do want to also tell you, although a third-party investigation means we have, as we shouldn't, we have no say in the third-party investigation, because then it wouldn't be a third party. But I do want to let you know that he is included in that. So when we are able to share those, when we get them ourselves, I'm very hopeful that we'll have more to say. But we obviously are not informed because we specifically said, do not tell us, then we compromise the integrity of the investigation. But that is part of it. So there will be accountability. How long it's going to take, man, I wish I could tell you right now. But I do want to let you know that there will be, and there will be more information. So I'm thankful to you, and I just want to let you know that I hear you and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Flores is gone, but not forever. I want to thank him very much. I think we would agree with you that the Hanover report did not go far enough. We all had lots of problems with it. You spoke about QR codes, something that I've been begging for the 5 years that I've been lucky enough to serve on this board, is an app where students can schedule appointments. We have heard over and over again from boroughs and Burbank High their concerns. One of the things we've also learned is that when the care centers were created with the very best of intentions, there was really no cultivation of community input. So what we're going to be doing this year, and this is what we talked about at the meeting that Mr. Flores referenced, is creating a series of community conversations. So that's with teachers, staff, parents, students, site admin, community members, you name it, to talk about what people want from something like a care center. And maybe we get all this information and at the end of the year we learn, oh, people do want a care center. Or maybe we learn something totally different. But we need to hear what people need. We can't just assume that we're meeting the needs of our students, teachers, and staff without asking them. And that has essentially been what's happened for a long time. So I am excited to hear from our community. We have a committee that we established, I think, last summer, a student mental health committee that is going to help us set up a timeline, and that's made up of teachers, counselors in the districts. We're going to have some students on there that will just help us make sure we're not missing anybody. So I wanted to just echo that we share his concerns, that we are acting on that, and that we hope that you will continue to bring forward your concerns. Miss Little, you the best. It was an honor to work alongside you on the bonds and the parcel taxes and when you were on PTA. I will tell you that I do not know why that stuff disappeared from the website. So I can tell you that I have a list. So I have a little thing that I send out a day or two before board meetings that just says, like, here are things to look for. And I have a little link tree where you can go. And I have the agenda, August 12th agenda, on my little link tree. So I don't know if it was a snafu with our website, which is in need of some help. But you are absolutely right to highlight that it should be there. It will be there. It will reflect the time of the meeting. It will reflect when we adjourned. It will reflect that we came back and reported out that there was nothing to report out. So you are absolutely right that that should be there. And I do not have an answer for you as to why it's not. It was sent out, where it went, but I will get an answer. And I'm sure that Dr. Macias will help me get that answer. But I appreciate your understanding of the distinction. So the other meetings that you mentioned, I'm going to go back and take a look at them. And just make sure that everything's kosher. But, you know, like, to your point, when we have these closed session meetings, they've never been streamed. But also, how confusing is it to understand that they're not streamed, but then see a link, right? Like, it's completely contradictory. So we need to do a better job of just double checking and making sure, because if I were in your position, I would be like, what's going on? This link was here, this link is gone. And especially in the climate that we're currently in, what's going on? right? Like adding fuel to the fire. So absolutely relevant feedback and something that we will make sure doesn't happen again. So I want to thank you for that. I also just want to address there were some really unnecessary comments made by about our teachers. And I want to say that there is a deep misunderstanding when you talk about how teachers have failed our students, when you talk about state testing scores. So one of the things that Dr. Anders has done a really phenomenal job when he comes and reports district metrics is the growth that we've been experiencing. And he talks a lot about the nuances. I think everybody in this room who has had a kid who's been in the district, has served on a board, understands that when we look at those numbers, we're actually talking about kids. We're talking about human beings, right? And we're talking about students, especially in the last couple of years, who are English language learners, who are coming to us having come from countries that are literally war-torn. Every one of those test scores tells a story. And that's not to dismiss the fact that we can do better. But that's not on our teachers. Our teachers are exhausting themselves, doing a phenomenal job, and doing the very best they can for our students. So I think to reference something that Mr. Flores said, one of the things that's been hardest for me, and I think this is a really good example of that, is sort of utilizing students or teachers as ammunition in a kind of like political battle. Everybody in this room has the right to be angry about what happened with Trustee Tabbitt and the contract. 100%. But trying to conflate that with teacher effectiveness, with student test scores, with things that have nothing to do with that, is just taking advantage of a situation at the expense of our kids. And so, you know, we have endless things we can show you, video links, whatever, about all of these test scores, but that's not a good faith argument. Nor is attacking the intelligence or efficacy of specific board members, nor is putting words in people's mouths. None of that helps. So I think, you know, in thinking about what Ms. Little said, it's hard, I think, for all of us, where everybody in this room, for the most part, is unbelievably invested in our kids and our schools. And I do think that almost all of us in this space want the same thing. And more emotional, right? Like it may not come out the best way. I'm hopeful as we move forward, we can continue to focus on what's important, which is, I think Mr. Kemp, you said this, and many others, about rebuilding that relationship, focusing back on our students, our teachers, and our staff. But I'm not going to allow our teachers to continue to get dragged through the mud by the same people who accuse them of being overpaid and accuse them of not being effective. We know how phenomenal our educators here are. And so, you know, there's a lot of things I could say that I'm not going to, but I do just want to hold up our teachers and say, they are phenomenal. I know that's a word that certain people don't like that I use a lot when referring to staff, but I do think our staff is phenomenal. Teachers, classified staff, admin, we are lucky and blessed beyond belief to have the people that we have working to serve our community and our kids. And I hope that we all take time to celebrate them as we move forward. So thank you, everybody, for your comments.
Thank you, Dr. Weisberg. Board Member Kano.
Good evening. Just want to tell Ms. Schwartz, reiterating what Dr. Weisberg said, that I just wanted to wish everybody a great year. They did get it off the ground, and it's tough. I think they're aware of what's going on here, but even in the grander scale, so many proposed federal cuts in terms of us not knowing up until the 11th hour, are we going to be able to have the money? You know how we went, so we were all, you know, all the teachers, we were kind of like, will we be able to? So thank you very much for everyone here that's addressing it. Appreciate, again, I've told you before, I do appreciate everybody being here. I do appreciate hearing. And to be honest with you, I've gotten several emails recently that have been extremely helpful and respectful. And I think, as Ms. Little said, there's been some sniping. I think it's human nature. You know, you're feeling put against the wall and such. But overall, the information that the ideas that people are having has been extremely helpful. And again, as Dr. Macias said, please keep emailing, keep talking to us. Mr. Flores, I solely appreciate him coming in and just having another voice in terms of what this is something that has got to be discussed. It's a big issue, and so we've got to have all points of view coming in. So I do appreciate him coming in with that. Again, thank you very much for, former board members, Mr. Kemp and Mr. Baum, Mr. Applebaum, and everyone else who I can see here in the audience. Thank you. I do really appreciate you coming and taking this time. And to know that you're still invested. You didn't just kind of be done with it and kind of go, okay, I'm done, I'm out of here. We need to hear your voices, the voice of experience. Ms. Lorigo, thank you very much for coming in, especially coming up with the state of the schools. I always look forward to just hearing exactly what we've done, and love seeing all the support you give to our schools. And overall, we started off with a great year. I think the schools are running. We're up and going. We're going forward. My grandson is he's happy where he's at, although he did get a red card today. And his mother told him, I only got one red card ever in my life. And that was in Ms. Walmsley's class, okay? And so she gave me that red card. She goes, and I never got another one again. So you were allowed one, and you took it today. And that's it. So, we're all moving forward, okay?
Thank you. Vice President Kamkar.
Thank you, Dr. Agakanian. So I do want to just start by saying thank you for coming and for bringing suggestions. And, we've gotten a lot of emails, and, there are certain things that we can't discuss because they're personnel issues, and that's always unsatisfying. But there are a lot of things that we can be doing. And I think it starts with the list that Mr. Kemp put forward, with the list that Mr. Bound put forward, and I think these are good suggestions. I want to talk about a couple things. So, as we said earlier, we're going to discuss how to appoint a new member at our next meeting. I think one thing that we should figure out is what is the price for a special election, and get really clear on that, because I think we've got an idea in our heads. Maybe it's that much, maybe it's more, maybe it's less. I truly do not know. But we should have a really clear idea before we say we're not doing it. So I don't know how we do that, Dr. Macias, but we'll figure it out together. The other thing that I think we should do that I really want to ask the community for, and maybe the next time we come for public comment, but we'll be discussing this at the dais, is we're going to need to balance speed with how much input we get, right? If assuming we don't go with an election, right? So there are a number of ways for us to get input from the community, whether it's putting together an advisory committee, whether it's putting together a smaller subset that represents various constituencies within Burbank, and having those people vote, right? There are a lot of different ways that we could do this. And none of them are going to feel fair to every single person, right? I don't know that we're going to be able to satisfy everyone, but I do want to hear ideas from folks of what would feel most fair to them if it's not in an election, right? So I do want to address one thing regarding districts, right? So Dr. Weisberg had mentioned that they said we didn't need to district. What that meant was that when we went to the county commission on redistricting, they basically looked at our maps and said, your at-large districts don't, violate the California Civil Rights Act. And we said, yeah, we know, but we have been given legal guidance that literally no one has ever won a challenge against the CVRA. We know the city is fighting it with all of our tax dollars, and I wish them the best, but I wasn't willing to do that with general fund money. So this is where we're at, which brings me actually back to appointing someone. That's the other thing we're going to need to decide. Are we going to appoint someone that would sit in District 2, I think it is, that's the seat that will be empty next November? Or would we appoint someone who's at large, which is how Board Member Tabbitt and I were elected? Another thing to think about. On the one thing that I do think is interesting that I think it was Mr. Bones said was the Budget Advisory Committee. I think it would be interesting to agendize that. I know it came off, there hasn't been one since I've been on the board. I believe it maybe came off when kind of LCFF and LCAP kind of happened. But one thing that I've been frustrated with as a board member is when we do LCAP, when we do LCFF, we really only talk about those LCFF dollars. We don't talk about the overall budget and the overall picture. We don't talk about how we allocate FTE to school sites. And I do think that it might behoove us to have a budget advisory committee and figure out how that layers in with our LCAP and LCFF discussions. Last is SFOC. So as Dr. Macias said, staff's going to fix this. It's really frustrating that this is where we're at. Mr. Applebaum, you were very influential for me around talking about the bond back in 2022, so I appreciate that. We're going to have to pay our bills from this summer, but we're not doing any more work on the bond until this is fixed. So information's going to come out Monday. I do want to just say one thing that I don't know if Dr. Macias mentioned is if anybody had applied for it already, their applications will continue forward. We'll check with them that they want to. But one of the frustrations that I had with the previous set of applicants was we didn't have someone for all the candidate categories that we're required to have by law. And the big one is we need to have someone from a qualified taxpayer organization. That list is pretty limited. It's legally required. And someone who did public comment last time I was talking to after public comment finished, and they mentioned that someone could kind of nominally join one of these organizations if they so chose to represent them on the SFOC. So if anyone is interested in that, I can provide more information, or staff can provide more information on what qualifies for that. There are a couple of them that are like $15 a year. So we won't be able to move forward with a new oversight committee until we have someone representing that particular constituency. It's state required. So again, thank you all for coming, for your thoughtful comments, and for the very thorough list of suggestions.
Thank you, Vice President Kamkar. First, I want to apologize to our Honorable Mr. Bond. Pleasure to meet you. I hope next time with a little better circumstances, but it is an honor to meet you. Thank you for your services. And all of our elected officials, who some of them I have served in the past, again, thank you for your services. I do agree with you've been kind of reading my, I don't know if you're reading my mind, you have that, but last meeting, same thing. You said what I was going to say, and I think the Budget Oversight Committee, or having that committee, it's important. I think it's something we should look into, and I think having more eyes and ears on this, it will help us. Again, the question also becomes to create interest around it. Because just based on the SFOC applications, we need more input. We need more community involvement. So I think we will look into that. I think it's important that we bring that forward and, see what the process is involved. I also want to acknowledge all of the speakers. Ms. Little, it's always good to see you. Thank you for your input and that little positive spin. And I think my colleagues have already covered all parts of it in terms of what the concerns were. But at the same time, I think it is important. Having community input, it's something that it's fundamental for me as an elected official and someone who has worked with a lot of elected officials, either in a, first starting as a community representative. My job was to listen to people's concerns, and I covered Glendale and Burbank when I worked for Majority Leader Dario Fromer. So I do appreciate you bringing this forward. I think, again, as some of my colleagues stated, there's a lot of concerns. But I can tell you one thing, and I've talked to our superintendent about this. I have had concerns, but my concerns have even grown further in terms of some of the issues that you brought up. But unfortunately, we cannot discuss some of this stuff. I wish I could, but legally, I can't. I think we're going to get to the bottom of this. But I made it very clear at certain things that I would not tolerate any of this anymore. I think even small things that sometimes people forget that matters do matter. And I think it's best said in Hagakura's Book of Samurai, matters of great concern should be treated lightly, matters of small concerns should be treated seriously. So, but I'm also not a person who does micromanagement. I do run a very big operation, 185 employees to be exact. But at the same time, I do believe that more oversight is needed, either coming from the citizens who can help us. There are some grave concerns that I'm very concerned, that I am very, very concerned about. And we will be addressing those, I guarantee you. But again, I do want to thank everyone who's here, including, again, some of our former electeds, all of you. I mean, I see what you've done in the past and continue to do. So it does, for me, what matters is the fact that you do care. Yes. It's a relationship, and we need to have this, and a partnership, and we need to have this conversation. So I want to thank all of you. I also want to thank Ms. Lorego from the Burbank Arts and Education Foundation. Yes. As someone who's a director of a foundation, I understand how difficult your job is, but at the same time, how rewarding it is. And just for clarification, yes, it is a separate 501c3. And I hope that everyone who's listening, you will continue your support. This organization does wonderful work. And more than ever, we need everyone to pitch in and help them. More than ever. And I will finish with what I said last time again. We were just at the PTA meeting, and the question of ICE and ICE rates came up again from our parents. Again, this is a safe district. We are safe in our schools. I have asked Dr. Macias to continue putting out what we did last time, which is, what to do, right, if this happens. And, again, I hope that the community understands this is very difficult for parents and children. But again, thank you everyone for your comments. And with that said, we will go to item 10, new and unfinished business. Sorry, I broke my glass, so I have to use my mini. I have an extra one. Thin optics. Fits in your pocket. 10A, ratification of agreement for professional services. Dr. Dorchenko.
Yes, I'm bringing forward today another contract. This is for the Alpha interpreters. If you recall, a few weeks ago, I brought forth the sign-up interpreters. Those are, should I wait? 1 second.
And while we're waiting, also, Mr. Hawk, thank you very much again. Sorry. Always a delight, and except don't forget we forgot your flyers. When are you going to bring us the flyers? The infamous flyer. Yes, Halloween is coming. Are you ready? All right. Dr. Rachenko. 10A.
Okay. This. All right. So we work with multiple agencies for DHH interpreters. These are interpreters that we're working with agencies for our employees. So last month, I brought forth for sign up $200,000 for interpreters for some of our employees. One of those interpreters moved to another company called Alpha. And so because of that, this is that is the interpreter that this employee who has a reasonable accommodation, that is the agency that her interpreter now works for. And so I'm bringing forth an Alpha ratification of services. This is just adding some money to this account for our Alpha interpreters. And these interpreters are necessary in order for us to appropriately accommodate people that are, in fact, our employees that are deaf and hard of hearing themselves.
Any questions?
Yes.
Dr. Weisberg.
Oh, hello. One, I actually got some really positive feedback from our DHH staff about Alpha. They said that it's been really a pleasure working with them. I just had a question, which may be Alpha unrelated, but how do we provide ASL translation when it's like a school-related event, but it's maybe happening before or after school, or if a student's in an extracurricular, like who do we use for that?
So again, just to be clear, this contract is for employees, but same holds true
I know it's
for
it's
students.
different thing.
But I can explain it for both of them. So we basically pay extra hourly for these interpreters. So when we have events like a cheerleading events, we have one of the jobs of the lead interpreter that we hired this past year is to then arrange those types of events, and they know in advance. The lead interpreter will then solicit and follow the procedures for making sure there's an interpreter. And usually for students, we have our staff members, our BUSD employees, but if we don't have a BUSD employee that can do it, then we would reach out to an agency.
Fantastic. I know there are different things, but it gave me a good opportunity to ask a question.
Absolutely.
Questions? It's very important. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 10B, approval of agreement of professional services with Global Lease Group. Dr. Knapik.
So this is a board action item that we're asking the board to approve a lease for an automobile for the workability program. This is for a teacher to use the car to transport up to 3 students at a time in the car to various businesses as part of the workability program. For years, they've been using their own personal automobile, but now that we've had such an increase in the DOR grant, the workability grant, we have monies available to go ahead and to transport. We did check in with the teacher too to say if they wanted a larger vehicle. They do not. There's no need for it. They've been working in the program for 20, 25 years, and there's no need for a larger vehicle.
Yes. Vice President Kamkar.
You outranked me.
So, so even though it's coming out of general fund,
No, workability grant funds.
I'm just looking at the account string in the recommendation is 01. Isn't that general fund?
Resource.
But the resource, so, okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. So there's a
58100
grant
is the
that went in,
resource.
and this is still
Yeah.
coming out of that grant. Got it, that's what I wanted to check.
So it says I think this is great, and I think it's a big relief that we're not relying,
Absolutely.
for liability issues alone.
Yes.
My question, I think, is just, I'm confused because we have more than 3 students. So it says in the report that we would have to have had buses because there were too many kids to fit in one thing. So we obviously have more than 3 kids. So is this just going to be taking kids in shifts?
Yes.
Okay. And so this is what the teachers are saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. It's much more efficient that way. And then we also do transportation training so that if and when we would use a bus, we would go ahead and do that training to the students so they can learn how to take the bus to a
Great.
business.
Perfect. Answers all my questions. Thank you.
So Dr. Weisberg, I actually just looked up the car because I went and I was like, what does it look like? How many kids fit in? And it's a 5-passenger and it's a hybrid also. So when I was thinking in terms of all that
Hyundai.
driving, I was like, oh, but it's a hybrid, so we should be okay.
Okay.
It's a 2025 Hyundai, what is it? Elantra.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
My question was entirely just about like, I did see it was a hybrid. I got excited. I was just slightly confused as to whether or not like 3 or 5 kids is definitely not all the kids we have in fax. So my confusion was merely just like, was this what staff wanted? Which I knew, chances are it would be. And then would it be in shifts or what were we thinking about just as far as it being practical?
I appreciate it. Does Dr. Weisberg, does she need to recuse herself because she owns a Hyundai?
For public record, I also lease a Hyundai, but I gained nothing professionally, personally, or financially from this lease. Thank you.
So out of just curiosity, is it a teacher or teachers who will be? And just in terms of, do we have to provide training or, I mean, what is the prerequisite for them to drive?
It's primarily one teacher that has been the teacher of the program for 25 years, I want to say, who's going to be the main person. Another staff member, another teacher can also use, so it is teachers only.
But
And they've been driving their own personal cars in the past, is that right?
Yes.
So they've
So-
been doing the driving, and this is now just in
Absolutely,
a
for
district
20
car.
years.
So it
And it's
doesn't alleviate
yeah.
that they have to take care of the safety and well-being of the kids, but it's no longer going to be a personal liability for them because it won't be their car. It'll be a district car.
Yes.
That's got to be a weight off their shoulders.
Really good questions. Any other comments, questions, concerns? What color is it? Oh, you're the lease guy? Oh, come over. Oh, I'm just kidding.
So the lease that was quoted is for white.
Is it white?
Welcome, Director of Purchasing, David Gerharder.
It is white. However, it's been quite a while since that bid was finalized. So whether or not that exact vehicle will be available now that we are approving it, that will remain to be seen. But we will get something equivalent, or we'll stay under the budget, right? But try to get something as close to that as possible.
Will it have a Burbank Unified logo on it?
Yes.
Would it have our
It'll be
pictures
just
in
a decal. So in our print shop, we print the decal. Our staff applies it. That way they can actually fuel it at the city yard as well.
Great, thank you so much.
Great, and by the way, do you want to introduce yourself to the million of viewers who
The
are
millions of
watching?
viewers. Yeah, my name is David Gerharder, and I'm the Director of Purchasing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Yay.
Gerharder.
All right. All right, can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 10C.
We're skipping.
Oh, 10C we're skipping, sorry. 10D, ratification of extension of employment contract for Assistant Superintendent of Education Services. Dr. Rochenko.
Yes, you might recognize this. It was at a previous meeting on July 24th. I'm bringing it back to this meeting because this is a regular meeting and we need to make sure that and you had approved this. And so I'm bringing it back to this meeting because it is a regular meeting. It can't be at a special meeting for you to reapprove it so that it just is in place properly. That the same as this item as well as 10E.
No, but we're,
Okay? Both of these next two items.
okay. All right. Oh, just to be clarification, 10C, sorry, the mic was on. It is 10C we put. All right, any questions on this? Can I get a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Oh, second.
And we have all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you,
I
Dr.
have a
Knappich.
somewhat random question that is probably a Dr. Chenko question. Our morals clause, it seems weird. Is it this, I ask because I know like in general morals clauses are very subjective just as a general rule, but I wonder like when the last time was that we updated it. It feels outdated and that may just be because
You're talking about the contract or for the board?
in employment contracts, there's a morals clause, right? And
Can you
I,
define what you meant by your?
In the contract we just approved, Section 4 has a moral conduct.
Correct,
Yes,
which
and-
I'm not objecting to. My concern is that board members vary, their beliefs and professionalism varies, and I would like to just take a look at our morals clause in our employment contract to see the last time it was updated, because it worries me just a little bit the way it reads, that this could become a politicized part of employee approval, especially as it pertains to a superintendent. So I'd like to, and if this is like we looked at it in 2024 and it's groovy, fine. I just wanted, and I could be being hyper nitpicky, but just the current world as it is, I want to make sure that we're not subjecting employees to a weird litmus test of personal, political, religious beliefs.
Yeah, I read it, and yes. Is there a way we can revisit this, or just for future reference?
You mean just like I asked?
Yes.
I agree with Dr. Agakanian, who said for the very first time we should review this morals clause.
Yeah, we can look at
I'm
this. This
sorry,
is-
my glasses are not working well, and it affects my hearing. So
The contracts
so my
are,
hearing
they go
and
through our
sight are
attorneys.
connected directly. Sorry.
We can look at the morals clause and see how we can update it.
And it's genetic. I'm sorry.
Too many things. Consult your samurai.
Thank you. Oh, it's a good book. And I do kendo for the record. So, all right. Any other questions? Yeah, you're laughing. That's good. 10E? I mean, no, we already, 10E, ratification of interim superintendent employment contract for acting superintendent, Dr. Oscar Macias. Dr. Rachenko.
As I said in the previous, this was brought back to this meeting because it's a regular meeting and employment contracts need to be approved by the board at a regular meeting. So we're asking you to re-approve this just so we're all in sync and it's legitimate and we can move forward.
I did briefly want to bring to all of our, a gentle reminder us that in the contract, it's very clear that we have to, before September 30th, have a superintendent evaluation in place.
Yep.
It's in the contract.
Yep.
And so it'll be a closed session item, but just for us to remember that that is something that we need to do in a timely fashion.
Does this have the weird moral clause in it too?
His contract does, yes.
I'm sorry. It's going to be the topic of the conversation for the rest of the evening. All right. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Freeze frame.
Congratulations
Aren't
again.
you- You're so
Dr.
lucky.
Macias.
This moment.
10F, ratification of verification of requirements for a provisional internship permit with the State of California Commission on Teacher Credentialing? Yes. Dr. Rachenko.
Okay, this is one of our special education teachers. He is enrolled in a program, but he is not.
Wait, as amended, sorry.
Yes, we had to amend just one part that was redacted for privacy considerations. So this is one of our special education teachers. He's enrolled in a program, but as of yet, he is not what's called intern eligible. He has to take 2 or 3 classes. And so we need this in place in order for him to teach with us. He taught with us last year. And so he's working on his credential. So this will keep him in place, and as soon as he takes his courses and becomes intern eligible, we'll move him over to an intern teacher.
Oh. Any questions? All right, any questions?
Sorry, did you say which school he's at? Does it matter? I guess maybe it
I
doesn't.
believe he is at Edison.
Great.
In the extensive needs classrooms.
Fantastic.
All
Thank you.
right. Can I get a motion as amended for 10F?
So moved as amended.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 10G, approval of transitional kindergarten curriculum guide. Dr. Knappich, as amended, sorry. As
So I'm going to
amended.
introduce Dr. Harris, who's going to take the lead on this board item.
Good evening. Would you prefer that I just walk through the handbook or give you some highlights? Highlights? Okay. So, good evening again. As you all know, TK and kindergarten, and TK is really a bridge to kindergarten and very important to prepare our students for kindergarten. So what this handbook is that's internally created by Burbank teachers and district staff is a structured curriculum guide, really more than that, that has lessons aligned to the California Preschool Learning Foundations and Common Core standards overlapped. So I'll just tell you things in a few categories, and I'm happy to walk through it with you. But the first category is the instructional approach, which is very balanced. It has a good combination of what we would want to see of whole group instruction, small group, and independent learning. It's very hands-on and play-based, and then for teachers provides the daily schedules, behavior management systems, suggested procedures, and ways to keep their young TK students engaged. The academic focus areas within the guide include both literacy and math, and then also the integration of social sciences, science, and art. Although our TK students do also use the FOSS science program that's adopted by the higher grades. And then lastly, and arguably most importantly, social emotional learning is also emphasized in the curriculum guide, how to be a good friend, how to respect others, things like that. So some of the classroom practices you're going to see are centers, which is very common in the lower grades, different types of behavior supports. You referred to the color cards earlier, tools like these that we can use especially with our younger students, and again, ways to keep them engaged because we know that they need those quick transitions and short lessons. So overall, this document provides a year-long scope. It provides a pacing guide for teachers with weekly lesson plans that's broken down by the subject areas. And one of my favorite parts is that it closes with preparation for kindergarten. So it's really a nice overall comprehensive look at the year, integrating all the different content areas.
Could you talk a little bit about, so it looks like there's 4 amazing humans who helped put this together. So thanks to them. But so was this created sort of looking at what other districts were doing and then sort of putting our own spin on it? Because it's super, I mean, I can't wait to dive into it and really read through the whole thing.
And standards as well, because the standards have progressed over time. And this is a solid document that we have in place to align our practices. Our TK teachers are also able to use other supplemental supports as they see as need fit, but at least we have this unifying document across the district.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll try to remember to send an email, but big thanks to them too. This is a lot of work.
Huge thanks.
Yeah. Couple questions. What were we doing before this? Were our TK teachers kind of on their own to adapt kind of what they had been doing in kindergarten, or what did it look? How did we structure TK before that?
So this document has been around for quite some time. It's never been formally adopted by the board. So we're bringing it to the board for a formal adoption as a part of Williams compliance.
Got it. Thanks.
So our teachers go ahead and use this as like the core curriculum.
Right.
It's a guiding document, but since then, they've gone ahead and they have augmented their program with other phonics programs. They've augmented it with other math materials. So we've allowed and we've encouraged them to go ahead and to use resources across the internet and across some other districts to go ahead and bring it to the classroom too. And then once we get to a adoption point, probably in a year and a half from now for mathematics, and then shortly thereafter, reading language arts, we're going to go ahead and work with our TK teachers as well as like TK through 8 actually on the adoption process. But once again, the learning foundations are like the standards for school and for TK, and that's what we use to guide this document.
Got it.
Yeah.
So actually, I think that's helpful for my next question. So looking at the domains and the outcomes, there's a couple places where it says like number 4 is not applicable to transitional kindergarten. Is that Because it's based on the kindergarten domains, and so some pieces just don't.
Absolutely, and the standards are continuing to evolve. So
Mhm.
we're really looking forward to our next adoption, as Dr. Knappich was saying, for language arts, because it'll allow us to move with the development of the standards.
Okay.
Mhm.
The other thing I just wanted to share with my board colleagues was Dr. Harris and I visited Providencia today, our California Distinguished School from 2025. And it was funny because I looked at this after we went to Providencia, and I saw a couple of these things on the pacing guide in action. So like they were supposed to be working on rhyming words. They were working on rhyming words in one TK classroom, and the other TK classroom they were working on how to use a glue stick, because 4-year-olds need to learn how to use a glue stick. And, you know, it just was our TK teachers, God bless them. My youngest is now 6, and I could not do that all day long because I could not have that kind of energy. But it was just really cool to see this in action and see that, like, okay, now I know that even though all of these teachers are very different, that the same thing is happening across our district in TK based on this, which was super cool. So thank you.
We were reminded today how important those very basic procedures are for our TK students, and the
Yeah.
kids loved the lesson.
Yeah, I like to see that presentation, how you use a glue stick.
Well, you may have missed it because maybe it was today in all of the TK classrooms. But my guess is that they'll need some help. If
Yes.
my children are any indication, they may need they may need to circle back a number of times on not leaving the cap off the glue stick.
At least they didn't eat it.
The hint for that is what I did with my middle school is I gave all the glue sticks names. So that when they left the cap off, I've told them they killed Frank, the glue stick. Trauma, but it works.
You're welcome. I'm pretty sure
That's a pretty creative one.
Sorry.
All right, any other questions? Kudos, can I get a motion?
Dr. Weisberg, do you feel good about this?
I do.
No? Okay.
I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for all the work.
So moved. Let's approve it
Second.
as amended.
Seconded as a.
Wait, there was an amendment on this one?
Yes, because the initial
Didn't have
guide
the
was not
Oh,
actually
you're
attached.
right.
So,
I do apologize. All right, all in favor? Oh, there it is.
aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right, next we have consent agenda. May I have a motion and a second approval items 11A through 11H and 11O as presented? And then was there another one you pulled out?
I have question.
Yeah, so I think what we do is we move it, and
And
unless
then-
you're going to pull something for
Yeah.
a separate vote, we can still do it under
Did I
discussion. Great.
read it right? Because you did pull
Yep,
something
so
else.
no, I don't think we pulled anything else. So
right.
11A through 11H
Yes.
and 11O
Oh, as presented. All
as
right.
presented.
Motion second? You want to have a
So
dis-
moved, sorry.
Second.
Okay,
All right.
so
Let's have a
discussion.
discussion now.
Go ahead. I'll go.
sorry.
I'll go after.
So I think this is a question for Dr. Abdelhamid. Can you just explain the difference between 11B and 11C? And why there are
Yes,
two different
absolutely.
PO reports?
Yeah, so we're doing our unaudited actuals right now, and that will come to the board
Lucky you.
in the next 2 weeks. But because of that, we have POs that are in the Smarty system, and so in order for us to actually pay an invoice on a PO, again, there's certain parameters, and so, for instance, one of the change orders on the first one, 11B, all of those are change orders, just FYI. So 11B is to finalize our 24-25 POs. The next report is the start of the 25-26 POs. So 11B is strictly change orders in order for us to actually pay the invoices in order to close the year out. And so, for instance, one of them on there, just because it's a big number, is related to special ed transportation. Yeah, and so I'll give the full context because, so that actually came to the board a couple months ago as a ratification. It never actually got entered into Smarty to do the change order PO until very recently. So that's when it shows up on the PO report. And again, that is the case when we need to pay an invoice, there isn't enough money in the PO. Hey, we tell the department, hey, you need to enter that requisition or that change order. So that's the difference between the two. One is to close out 24-25. The 11C is to start the 25-26 POs.
Dr. Weisberg.
Hello. On the 24-25 PO report, I just needed some clarification on a couple of them say, hold on, let me get there. You answered the first question I had, but let me find it. Oh, I wrote it down.
The best contracting services
Yes.
one.
So best contracting, it's sort of towards the bottom on the first page. It's the two best contracting services for Burroughs and for Emerson.
Yes, I believe, so these are actually reduced, so these
One's
were.
reduced.
Yeah, I believe these were potentially hitting the wrong string. Let me just double check though.
Yeah, my question was just an explanation of what it says as payment posting error. What it looks like is that perhaps it was posted to the wrong school because it's the exact same amount for the exact same thing. It's a decrease from Emerson and an increase at Burroughs. So I'm guessing that's what happened, but I'm wondering, just getting some clarification on that would be great.
Yeah, I believe that's exactly what happened, but I'm just looking at the details of the change order request. So at the bottom of the report, the full change orders are there, and so I'm just checking to see
Thank
if
you.
that language was placed there.
Any other questions?
We're still waiting on.
Oh, I am sorry.
That's okay.
I can't hear, I told you.
Right, your glasses are broken. You can't hear.
Yeah, that's exact, so one
Okay.
was at one school, and so I think a payment hit one school when it should have hit the other. And so to ensure that it didn't look like one school had a $1.2 million expense.
Right.
There had to have been a change order.
And that was just like somebody just misentered.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between the two strings would be maybe one digit just in the location code.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I noticed, Dr. Abdelhamid, that we've got the actual purchase orders for some of these items in each of 11B and 11C.
Yeah.
But not everything, and that's new, right? I think it's very cool that we're able to see those. What's the threshold for including the POs in the report itself?
So we added that just particularly because we were asked about the change orders. And so we said, if it is a change order of some sort, we're going to add the full description, which is the full kind of.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
great.
if you want more, then we can give more. It's just.
This is great.
The report will be a lot longer.
No. I just wasn't sure, because I think I had like envisioned that it was like going to be within the same report.
No,
but this is actually super helpful.
I envisioned that too, but Smarty has its own limitations.
You know, Smarty is its
David
own
and I realized when we
system.
tried to get the developer
No.
to work on
This
it.
is super helpful. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding the inclusion correctly.
Yeah, so if it's a change order, then the actual PO is attached indicating what the school side or the department indicated the reason was for the change order.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I might have one more. 1 second.
While you're waiting, good to see you back, Dr. Quick question, do we have an accounting policy?
You don't have your mic on.
See, I can't even see anymore and hear, hold on. Do we have a district accounting policies and procedures, like a booklet or something?
We have several like internal kind of day-to-day procedures. So whether it's like how to do journal entries or so all these things that people would do day-to-day in our staff. So we do have a document like that. Something that we've been working on is more of a external. So if you're an office manager at a school site, having a booklet or a electronic document so that you understand what to do as well.
But also in terms of, so I'll tell you why, because I had to rewrite hours at my work.
Oh yeah, these are from scratch basically, but yes.
But also for public, like if you get a PO and DA, like who has to sign on it? What is the procedure, right? Where it gets to, because, ours is a little rigorous. It requires 4 signatures, but yes.
Yeah.
My accountants really like me.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just curious when public asks, because we've talked about budget a lot, is this something that you're working on or we already have that we can make it available for public?
We do have a lot of documents that we can provide. It's just, I guess it depends on what they're specifically asking for, I think.
I will ask, for example,
Yeah.
policies and procedures for like proving PAs and DOs.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, sure, we can provide some.
like,
Yeah.
things like that, like who
Oh.
has to sign on it eventually. I just want to know, like, eventually, at the end, who is the person that does the final signature?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can provide that to the board, or to Oscar or Dr. Macias.
Any other, yes, Dr. Dr. Kamkar.
That's my husband, thank you.
Okay.
He's a doctor.
Oh, you're a doctor too.
Dr. Achenko, you had mentioned that you had something to share on 11H, the adjoin contract, but I forget what it was.
Yes. In case there were any questions, this is just the, EdJoin is the platform that we use for our employment and for our jobs. And the membership fee, when we did the first one in June of 18th of 2025, it just wasn't the correct amount. So this is amended because the real cost is the $4,299.
So have they doubled their price in the last year?
I guess so.
Holy smokies. That's interesting. I mean, it puts it really in the same.
To be honest, I would have to find out was there just an error that was made in the requisition, or was it that the price doubled? And yes, I can get
Yep.
that.
I mean, we can still approve it, just, it would be good to know, because I know that's what you use, I know that's standard practice, I just.
Right.
That.
Sure.
From the last time that I did any sort of recruiting, that feels like similar to the cost of like a LinkedIn recruiter license.
That is actually
Not
a
that
good
that's where unfortunately, that's not where educators are, as I learned, but.
Sure thing.
If we can find out that and the color of the Hyundai that we're getting, that'd be great.
Both very important. I do not have further questions.
It's gonna be all night, Hyundai and color. Go ahead. Is your mic on?
I'm turning it on. Just, I know we use EdJoin. Is there some reason that we prefer them, if their price has gone up? Do we prefer them over something like school jobs? That's another one of these platforms that you can do.
Yeah, there's another pretty popular one for classified jobs, government jobs. Sometimes, I know cities use government jobs, but we've used, traditionally, we've used EdJoin, but we do different things. So depending on the job, sometimes we posted them on LinkedIn. When we were looking for nurses, we have a place where we can post for nurses. We use the EdCal, which is part of AXA, for administrators when we need them. So, but then what's nice is then those all link them back to EdJoin, and then we have one database that can have all the information and make sure all the questions that we need to be compliant with EdCode are all answered. When you do things such as Indeed, the problem is managing it, because you have to then manage it on the Indeed sort of website and in their system, and then all of the compliance issues that we have as a school district aren't always captured.
So you could post it on Indeed and send them to EdJoin.
No.
But it doesn't.
That doesn't work. The only one that works like that is LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you post on Indeed or some of the others, it doesn't they won't let you link back always to EdJoin.
Okay. So we use EdJoin as our kind of applicant tracking system.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So we have a motion, it was second, we had a discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next we're going to reports from board members. Anyone? Dr. Weisberg.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Officer Ruiz, Chief Q, and everybody else who met with Dr. Macias, Vice President Punzer Kamkar, and I at the police department. It was a really robust conversation. I'm really happy to be partnering with Chief Q and the whole team there, and just really want to welcome Officer Pinsky. We're really I know she's already been at school sites. I think Roosevelt posted a fun picture of her on site. So I also really appreciated after Officer Rees talking about the different specific trainings that she gets. It's really helpful for people to better understand that they do get very specific training. Big thank you to everybody at Huerta and Bret Hart for letting me visit. I'm excited to go visit Edison tomorrow. I did really specifically want to shout out, I said I was doing this thing where I was going to wear a school shirt to every board meeting, but there's just so many things I can be mocked and yelled at on social media, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But I am going to shout out a school at every board meeting, starting next board meeting, but I will be dressed appropriately according to people on social media. But I wanted to shout out Madison Voracek, who is a phenomenal math teacher at Dolores Huerta. I sat in on 2 of her classes. One was a 6th grade math class, and they were playing this amazing game where they were rolling pencils to try to like measure the distance. I'm bad at math, but it was really fun. And then she had this great lesson that she did with her 8th graders on growth mindset. And it was so cool to they were super engaged. She created this lesson that the kids were locked in from the first moment they came in to the moment that they were done. They really grasped it. I asked her to send it to me so I could steal it immediately for my middle school students. But, Vice President Ponser-Kamkar brought up just how great it is to see our teachers in action and our lessons in action. And so it was a phenomenal opportunity to just sit in the back of the room and watch an expert do her stuff and watch the kids engage. We're only in the 2nd week of school, and, they were ready to go. They were ready to learn. And so just really grateful to her for letting me come in and watch. Also got a chance to just say hi to their finance clerk and also to their Title I coordinator. We don't talk about them enough, but just doing an unbelievably difficult task with like big smiling faces and warm hearts, and it's only a week and a half into school. So just a great reminder for me of why we do what we do, and it made me miss my students. So I will be looking forward to going back myself. I think that is all that I have.
Thank you, Dr. Weisberg. Board Member Connor.
I just wanted to remind everybody that I think this Thursday is back to school night at elementary schools. Yeah. Yeah. And so unfortunately, I would love to be there, but it's actually my back to school night in Montebello too, so I will be there. So this is just such a great time to be able to go in, see your children's classrooms, see what the teachers are doing, realize that they're there for a really, really, really long day, and they're going to be smiling, and they're going to, just give you the best. So, yes, send donuts the next day. And then, that was just my own. They're putting out fires every day. They're just putting out little fires little fires every day. Like, just for example, today we had the Williams people show up at our school, but the books haven't arrived. Okay. So are you one of those, you're just like, okay, punt. I don't know, So again, you get through it, and the teachers you get through it, and that's what teachers kind of do every day, You just, so congratulations, and again, have a wonderful year.
Vice President Dr. Kamkar.
Just congratulations on a pretty smooth start of school.
I agree.
I was glad to see lots of district staff out at schools this week, where I was able to get, or at least when I was doing drop off at my own kid's school, I got to see Ms. Barzagar and all sorts of folks. Apparently, Dr. Harris was seeing my children. She tells me, my kids don't tell me anything. Like I said, I went to Providencia today. It's just a wonderful school. I want to thank Ms. Celeste for welcoming me in and walking me around. We spent an hour together. I left just before they did their fire drill so that I wouldn't have to be accounted for. And going to Burroughs tomorrow, which I'm hoping to go see that accessible garden that Ms. Schwartz talked about earlier. So hoping to get out to more schools over the next week or so as we kick things off. As Ms. Cano mentioned, elementary open house, or not open house, back to school night is Thursday, 6 o'clock. So, it's always good to get our teachers setting their expectations. I always learn something new when I'm going out there, it's a fun time of year. even though it's 1 million degrees outside, I'm reminded that summer is over and school has started, and I'm really looking forward to getting refocused on the actual business at hand of being in schools, being focused on students and teachers. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you to all of my colleagues for the wonderful reports. I'll make this short. I did attend the Burbank Council PTA meeting at the start of the year and joined by our superintendent, Dr. Macias. Again, it's always wonderful to see our PTA members there, and I just love the energy and, and congratulations to all the continuing officers, new officers, all the committee chairs, and Dr. Macias provided a wonderful report. And for those of you who don't know, now we have a new newsletter called Burbank BUSD Bridge. So, is it bi-weekly, weekly? Monthly? I thought it was daily. No, I'm sorry. So thank you for doing that. I read the first publication. It was wonderful. Very informative, actually. I learned a thing or two. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Alma Castro, she's the president of Linwood School Board. She invited us to attend a press conference with a bunch of other school board members. It's called Standing with Schools. It was in front of Hawthorne's. It was really, good to see that how united our teachers, parents, educators, and lawmakers were. But also at the same time, it saddens me that we have to talk about this. It saddens me that we have to remind people that schools are a safe place and you're protected here. I know I keep bringing this up, but it's a big issue. It continues. Some of the schools, the enrollments have dropped. Some of the schools, you're going to see probably half the parents showing up to the, I can tell you, we just had an event, literally 50% of parents were not there, not because they want. I mean, imagine they're honoring your kid and you can't show up because you're scared. It's difficult. So again, everyone out there, please, understand that we're here for you. The schools are safe, but if you see or hear something, also let your faculty and staff know, let the superintendent know, because again, it is happening and it continues. With that said, I will be reading retirements. We have one retirement. Juan De Leon, lead custodian, Jefferson Elementary, began services at 8/25/97. Mr. De Leon, enjoy your retirement. And with that said, we'll adjourn our meeting at 8:23.